Bismillah. Welcome to Inspiring Narratives, your favorite channel for uplifting stories, renewed hope, and cultivating a deeper connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Discover with me how turning to Allah can lead you to amazing changes in your life. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are back with another uplifting story that will, by the grace of Allah, strengthen your faith and renew your hope, inshallah. Let's start by sending peace and blessings on our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Say it with me. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabi ajma'in. I just want to make mention our next challenge is approaching, and I wanted to share it here since many of you missed the posts. This exciting challenge will begin on October the 1st and it will continue until Ramadan, inshallah, which is in about 5 months' time. We have the Dhikr support groups, one for the sisters and one for the brothers. If you haven't joined yet and you are interested in joining, feel free to DM me on my Instagram and we'll get you in, inshallah. Get yourself a drink, get comfortable, and let's get started. You know, a lot of people think that all our problems come from not having enough money. Most of us believe that happiness is tied to wealth. And yes, while money is important, it helps us meet our needs without having to rely on anyone else. But just like those struggling financially go through tough times, there are people out there with plenty of money who still have their own problems. This sister tells us her story. I consider myself to be from those who are blessed, one of the lucky ones if you like. I'm someone who has cried from happiness because of the things that have happened in my life that I never expected. Allah has blessed me with so many blessings. I've put in a lot of effort, step by step, to reach where I am today. Alhamdulillah, I've had the opportunity to study and learn in some of the best places. I'm blessed with a beautiful home, a job that many aspire to, a loving husband, wonderful children, and a fulfilling life. I'm grateful to have achieved many of the things people work hard for. Of course, I have my problems too, I don't deny that. Just like anyone else, I've gone through difficult circumstances. Yes, my financial situation is excellent, but that doesn't mean I don't have issues. From a young age, I have loved life. I was an ambitious person, always smiling, always optimistic. But after I met my husband and got married, all of these things changed. My social perspective on life changed. My ideas about life changed. I became a different person. I no longer enjoyed gatherings. I became sluggish and lazy, to the point where I started to see myself as a miserable person, someone who doesn't enjoy life at all. I started to hate my life. I felt that I had no value or purpose. Whether I was in this life or not seemed like the same thing. My family noticed the change in me, as the change was huge. I was a fun and happy person who was full of life, loved being around people and socializing. Honestly, my husband's personality had a huge impact on me. Despite his excellent financial status and all the blessings he was blessed with, he was never satisfied with what he had. He always wished for someone else's life and looked at others with envy, even though he had everything. He was never content and always blamed himself, and even, astaghfirullah, blamed Allah for why he wasn't like this or that person. He always wished for more, always looking at what others had. He had everything most people would only dream of, but he was never content or happy, always looking at what others had. He was never grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He often spoke to others about how challenging life was, how stressed and unwell he felt, and how difficult things seemed for him. It was like he was talking about someone else. I couldn't see all these complaints and problems he was seeing. Eventually, what he had been complaining about became his reality. He developed high blood pressure, diabetes, constant exhaustion. His money seemed to disappear quickly with no blessings or barakah in his earnings. Even me, alhamdulillah, I'm blessed to have a good position within an amazing company where I work as a manager with an excellent salary. No one in my family has reached the level of success I've achieved. However, I realized that his constant complaints and negative thoughts were starting to rub off on me. I became like him. I was always imagining that I'm going to get sick. I kept thinking bad things are going to happen to me. I'm always expecting the worst in life, which was completely out of character for me. It's got so bad to the point that my sister suggested I see a doctor about my condition. So I did. But after following up with the doctor and taking various medications, such as painkillers and various other medicines, it didn't help at all. Actually, my situation only got worse. It was one of my colleagues who recommended a doctor in a different city, a bit far from where we live. I contacted him, and after a few consultations, he told me that I had no physical or psychological problems, but rather spiritual ones. What does spiritual problems mean? This was the first time I had heard of such a thing. He explained that I had grown distant from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which he said was the root issue. I was surprised to hear a doctor bring up religious matters. He then told me, you seem to be imagining a lot of things that have no real basis. From what I've gathered from your story, both before and after, it seems you may have been influenced by someone. He was absolutely right. I had indeed been influenced by my husband's negativity. I found myself constantly complaining to others, driven by a fear of envy, until I began to believe that all the negative things I spoke about were truly my reality. I would really believe these things were actually true. I would imagine that I was sick. One moment I'm suffering from heart palpitations, stomach pain, and pains in other areas of my body, along with other issues that had no basis to them. After the doctor explained to me what the problem was, he advised me to return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's an Arabic saying, and this is what he said, "Ash-shakwa li ghayri Allahi mazalla," which means complaining to anyone other than Allah is a kind of humiliation, And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, and proclaim the blessings of your Lord in Surah Ad-Duha. You are a person Allah has blessed with so much. Why would you complain to people the way you do? Why think and speak of negative outcomes like illness, poverty, and losing your job? These are merely illusions from shaitan, meant to lead you astray from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and keep you trapped in fear and anxiety. I thought about what the doctor said, and his advice and words made complete sense. He advised me to go and look back on how my life was before and compare it to how it is now. I made the effort to dig out my old journals, and when I compared my life now to what I had written back then, the difference was shocking. Some people lift you up and others pull you down. He made me realize that the negativity I was surrounded by, the constant complaining, was what had brought all these issues into my life. I realize now that it was my husband's negativity that caused all these issues. So I decided to stay away from my husband for a while. I went to my family's house and stayed there for a month. After following the doctor's advice, my perspective on life completely changed. I stopped complaining, even to my family. I realized that many of the things I thought were wrong in my life were just illusions created in my mind. Even the pains I was feeling were illusions. As all the tests came back perfect, there was nothing wrong with me. Whenever I wanted to complain or I was afraid of something, I turned to Allah and opened my heart up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I stopped complaining and speaking to others about my problems. I stopped the negative thinking. I started feeling grateful and started thanking Allah for all the blessings Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed me with, as the doctor recommended. I consider this doctor a huge blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm blessed to have come across this doctor. His akhlaq and deen, mashallah. If it was another doctor, he would have taken who knows how much money for tests and medications. This doctor said, I don't need anything. I only need to return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he advised me on what to do. One piece of the advice he gave me, and that I would also share with you, whether you're in a similar situation or facing something entirely different, is this: don't complain to others about your struggles. Instead, focus on being grateful for the blessings you have, blessings that many others might wish for. Always expect the most beautiful and wonderful things from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Interact and make friends with those who are positive, those who are optimistic, those who love life. And indeed, we should all love life because it's a gift to us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And be content in the good days and the bad days. And we must not be upset when we have bad days. And we should recognize that everything that happens in our life is from the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I returned to reading the Quran daily, and I'm embarrassed to say this, but wallahi, I only ever read the Quran in the month of Ramadan. I now read the Quran daily, 1 page, half a page, or even a few verses, but I must read every day. 6 months after following the doctor's advice, and my life has transformed. I've started working on helping my husband recover from his negative mindset as well. The key is to return to Allah, to be grateful for what you have, and to always expect good things from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you dwell on negativity, you'll end up creating it in your life. Instead, trust in Allah's wisdom, be patient, live your life fully with gratitude for both the good and the bad times. This brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed this story. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so do leave a comment below. I leave you in the care of Allah. I'll see you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.